Welcome to the world of Shadows of the Celestial Heart, a tale of love, mystery, and destiny written by Priya Mangalam. Before we dive into this captivating journey, a quick reminder: this novel is a work of fiction. Any resemblance to real events, places, or people is purely coincidental. The story you're about to experience is filled with rich characters, magical realms, and a love that transcends time itself. So, sit back, relax, and let yourself be swept away by the celestial mysteries that await you.
Volume 1, Chapter 2, A Rift in the Night. The moon, a silvery crescent hanging high in the night sky, cast its cold light over the Yuelon sect. The once serene grounds now felt like a battleground within Liang Feng's heart. The previous night's encounter with Han Jin had left him disturbed, and as he attempted to focus on his daily training, he found his thoughts drifting to the rogue cultivator's unsettling presence. Liang Feng was in the midst of his sword practice, the blade slicing through the air with a sharp, rhythmic cadence. Each swing was executed with precision, yet his mind was clouded. The movements felt almost mechanical, lacking the fluid grace that usually defined his technique. His focus was fractured by the memory of Han Jin's taunting laughter and that disarmingly warm touch. Su Wei, a fellow cultivator and rival, approached the training grounds, his expression a mix of curiosity and concern. Su Wei had always been perceptive, often noticing subtleties others missed. He stopped at a respectful distance, observing Liang Feng with a critical eye. Liang Feng, Su Wei called out, his voice cutting through the clang of metal. You seem distracted today. Is something troubling you? Liang Feng paused, lowering his sword. He wiped the sweat from his brow and glanced at Su Wei. It's nothing to concern yourself with. Su Wei raised an eyebrow, his gaze unwavering. I've heard about your encounter with Han Jin. From what I gather, it was quite unusual. Liang Feng's jaw tightened. Unusual is an understatement. Han Jin is not like the typical rogue cultivator. He has a way of getting under your skin. Su Wei's expression hardened slightly, a flicker of something like jealousy or frustration crossing his features. Is that so? I wouldn't have expected such a reaction from you. Are you sure it's not just a distraction? Liang Feng met Su Wei's gaze steadily. I'm not letting anything distract me. This is important. Su Wei nodded, though his eyes betrayed his concerns. Just be careful. The dark arts can be deceptive, and it's not like you to let personal matters interfere with your duties. Liang Feng offered a terse nod, sensing the underlying tension in Su Wei's tone. Their friendship had always been strained by their competitive nature, but now it seemed to be exacerbated by something deeper, something Liang Feng couldn't quite place. The following day, the Yuelon Sect's Grand Hall was abuzz with activity. Elders and senior cultivators gathered to discuss the next phase of the mission to capture Han Jin. The room was filled with an air of tension and expectation, the gravity of the task weighing heavily on everyone present. Elder Zhao, the head of the sect, presided over the meeting with his usual authority. Liang Feng entered the hall, his demeanor calm but his mind racing. He took his place among the other cultivators, feeling their eyes on him with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. Elder Zhao began the meeting with a sharp tone. Liang Feng, as you are aware, the rogue cultivator Han Jin poses a serious threat. We have devised a strategy to lure him out of hiding. You will lead a team to execute this plan. Liang Feng straightened, his heart pounding. Understood, Elder Zhao. What is the plan? Elder Zhao's eyes narrowed as he outlined the strategy. We will create a series of disturbances in the forest, designed to attract Han Jin's attention. Your role will be to confront him directly and subdue him. We will have backup in place, but your primary objective is to capture him alive. Liang Feng listened intently, absorbing every detail. The plan was straightforward, but the prospect of facing Han Jin again stirred a tumult of emotions within him. He knew that this confrontation would not only test his skills but also force him to confront the unsettling feelings Han Jin had awakened in him. As the meeting concluded, Liang Feng was approached by Su Wei. There was an edge of frustration in Su Wei's voice. So, you're leading the operation. I suppose you'll be the one to face Han Jin directly. Liang Feng met Su Wei's gaze, his expression guarded. It's my responsibility. I'll do what needs to be done. Su Wei's eyes flickered with a mix of envy and concern. Just don't let your personal feelings cloud your judgment. We can't afford any mistakes. Liang Feng's jaw clenched. I understand. As night fell, Liang Feng prepared for the mission. His gear was meticulously checked, and his sword was sharpened to a fine edge. The quiet of his quarters was a stark contrast to the turmoil within him. He was determined to fulfill his duty, yet the haunting warmth of Han Jin's touch lingered in his thoughts. The team assembled under the cover of darkness, their movements swift and silent. Liang Feng led them into the forest, where the plan to lure Han Jin was set in motion. They created disturbances, using enchanted devices to simulate conflicts and attract the rogue cultivator's attention. The forest was alive with eerie sounds and shifting shadows, each rustle of leaves and distant crack of branches amplifying the tension. Liang Feng's senses were on high alert as he led his team through the darkness, his mind focused on the task at hand. Suddenly, a chilling wind swept through the trees, and the familiar taunting laughter echoed around them. Liang Feng's heart raced as Han Jin emerged from the shadows, his presence both unsettling and mesmerizing. Han Jin's eyes locked onto Liang Feng, a smirk playing on his lips. Ah, Liang Feng. I didn't expect you so soon. Liang Feng's grip tightened on his sword. Han Jin, you're under arrest. Surrender now, and you may be spared further harm. Han Jin's expression was one of amusement, though there was a glint of something deeper in his eyes. You still don't get it, do you? There's more to me than just a threat. But if it's a fight you want, before Liang Feng could react, Han Jin moved with blinding speed. The rogue cultivators. Form blurred as he closed the distance, his dark energy crackling around him. Liang Feng met his advance with a defensive stance, their swords clashing in a shower of sparks. The confrontation was intense, Han Jin's dark arts contrasting sharply with Liang Feng's disciplined techniques. Each strike and parry was a dance of shadows and light, a physical manifestation of the internal conflict that raged within Liang Feng. As the fight continued, Liang Feng felt the weight of his emotions pressing down on him. Han Jin's presence was intoxicating, and every movement of the rogue cultivator seemed to challenge Liang Feng's control. The battle was not just a test of skill but also a confrontation with his own feelings. In a moment of unexpected calm, Han Jin's eyes met Liang Feng's, and for a fleeting second, the intensity of the fight seemed to fade. Han Jin's gaze was intense, filled with an emotion that mirrored Liang Feng's own inner turmoil. You're stronger than I thought, Han Jin said, his voice barely audible over the clash of their swords. But you're also more vulnerable. I see it in your eyes, a longing for something you can't quite grasp. Liang Feng's breath hitched, and he felt a surge of frustration and desire. The rogue cultivator's words were both a challenge and an invitation, stirring a deep conflict within him. The battle raged on, each moment bringing Liang Feng closer to a breaking point. As the night deepened, Liang Feng's resolve was tested, and he realized that this confrontation with Han Jin was not just about capturing a rogue cultivator but also about confronting the shadows within himself. The fight reached a crescendo, with Liang Feng and Han Jin locked in a final, decisive clash. Liang Feng's sword struck true, and Han Jin staggered back, his dark energy dissipating. The rogue cultivator's gaze lingered on Liang Feng with a mixture of admiration and something akin to sadness. You've won this round, Han Jin said, his voice soft. But remember, Liang Feng, there's more to this world than what you've been taught. With those final words, Han Jin vanished into the shadows, leaving Liang Feng alone in the forest. The mission was a success, but Liang Feng's heart was heavy with conflicting emotions. As he returned to the Yuelan sect, he knew that the path ahead would be fraught with challenges, both external and internal. The confrontation with Han Jin had left an indelible mark on him, and the journey to understand his own feelings and the rogue cultivator's true nature was only just beginning. Liang Feng could no longer ignore the shadows of his own heart, and the quest for resolution would shape the destiny of both himself and the enigmatic Han Jin.
Thank you for joining me on this magical journey through Shadows of the Celestial Heart. If you've enjoyed the story so far, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more chapters, updates, and exclusive content. Remember, the story isn't over yet. The shadows of the Celestial Heart are just beginning to unfold. Stay tuned for more enchanting twists, and until next time, let your heart follow the stars.